As a programmer, I have participated in a few game jams and made a few games. By the standards of a game jam, these are all based on cool concepts, with unique feature complete gameplay, tens of minutes of content. However, by any other standards, I am not certain that the word done can really be applied. All of those games were made alongside a custom 2D game engine I like to call Skirmion. Each time it gained just as much code as the game used for itself, so it has become a very versatile, feature-filled tool on its own. In the end, though, I have a long list of game features I still want to try making, and I haven't really ever posted a game outside of itch.io or the Android Play Store that one time. I am fairly satisfied with where I left off on my previous projects, and none of them are quite the type of thing that I would spend a year working on and try to put on Steam. So, a new project it is. This is my current quick test of Ineffable Islands, a game where you're going to build a ship and use it to discover different islands with puzzles and dungeons and such on them. A bit like Phantom Hourglass, maybe? I plan to use a mix of different handmade and random generation techniques for the islands and dungeons. Also, shipbuilding might end up with a lot of customization, stats, and inventory management stuff. Outside of those, though, I have very loose, vague plans. I intend to just try a bunch of different stuff and see if I can find the fun later. This tile set on its own, the textures are absolutely going to go through many revisions, hopefully become a bit more 3D. Included in the list of features I want to add to my game engine are shaders and particles and other fancy visual stuff. I started out with very little, just solid colors. The tree color I copied from another game. Then here we have a time lapse of redoing those textures, adding some variation, uh, adding some custom trees, and rebuilding the island a little bit better. Um, and then I moved on to an even better island. Uh, Here we can see some final edits to the map. This text describes the entire map of the island, and every tile on it is interpreted through a number of steps and mapping systems. And here you can see a slightly improved island. Not too much, but with some animated waves and more tree variation, rocks and grass. A few more iterations, and we get to the game of today. Side by side, you might be able to tell where all the tiles line up to how they look in the game. Again, each individual character lines up with a tile in the game, and there are various tools to convert between the two. Indexes is the main file for all of that. Here we've got a key of what each character becomes in the final output through multiple steps. Up top, we've got the displays. So this is the background tile map. You can see how some of the water tiles will have different ground tiles underneath them. Some of these letters translate to sand and grass. Multiple letters will actually correspond to the same tile on this layer. So as we can see, some of the flowers and trees can be on top of the light grass, and the flowers and trees can also be on top of the darker grass, and the same for the pillars. Similarly, the water gets layered on top of other textures, and here we have a map of the tree textures, flower texture, and the flower textures. Below all that, these will be passed into some randomizers to add some variation to the world. The first one is used to choose between a few different flower decoration textures. The red flower, the purple flower, this bush thing. The second one will be multiplied by the number of textures in the main tile set. Since there are 6 spaces for tiles here, any number greater than that will instead rotate a tile. Any tile number plus 6, in this case, will rotate once clockwise, plus 12 will rotate twice clockwise, plus 24 will flip the tile horizontally, plus 30 will flip horizontally and rotate clockwise, and if you reach all the way to plus 90, it will flip horizontally, flip vertically, and rotate 3 times. For different numbers of tiles, adjust accordingly. You can see the effects of this random rotation on the sand and the grass. The main file handles loading textures and creating all these objects. This enum right here controls the order of the layers in which things are rendered in. The player renders below the trees, but in front of the flowers and such. The main file loads the textures, the beach, the water, 2 different maps for the trees. Because the tiles are still square 16 by 16, I use a second tile map. I use a second and third tile map offset and adjusted upwards to allow the trees to cover more tiles at once. Then we've got flowers, which are given into the randomizer. We've got a player texture and some other setup. The player at the moment is just movement and collision. Everything else is handled by the engine. These 3 files are the only ones in this game specifically, as well as all the resources. The engine handles a bunch of stuff, including the animated water tile maps, camera tracking, remappable keybinds, even joystick support, though I haven't attached that to this game yet. Some recent additions to the engine include handling multiple buttons at once in a combination, and like mapping more than one action to the same key. In preparation for future episodes, I've also spent some time working on some new debug tools. One of those being control and a number key to hide or reveal or to toggle hide certain layers visually. I suspect that'll be useful for maybe comparing and contrasting different visual effects, turning on and off particle systems, choosing between different art, maybe. After that, I came up with an even more crazy idea, though I don't have a great demonstration for it. If I hit Control Escape, I can pause the game in its entirety while keeping certain debug inputs functional. So I can do all my debug keybinds, but not move the character, and you can see the water animations is stopped. So that will allow me to include some breakpoints and go step by step through certain animations, like so. And just press a button to resume entirely. There we go. This could be used to run complex algorithms or animations step by step, or for general debugging. Though for the trickiest seg fault kinds of issues, I will probably still have to pull out Valgrind. I know this on its own is not a terribly impressive devlog to start with, but I feel that the next few ideas I have for random island generation and engine reworkings would all go better as their own videos. So this is just a startup, introduction to the project, introduction to the engine in video form, and trying out the devlog experience. I am Stewin, and thanks for watching.